Well, I finally broke down and bought a bookshelf. Just a cheap $30 one. Really didn't want to buy something brand new. I was trying to find something used, but everything I found was either A, redonkulously expensive, or B, falling apart, and even C, it just wouldn't work. So, simplicity, $30, big box store, cheap bookshelf, just to kind of hold things and get things organized. And I do kind of actually have things nice and organized here. We got some comedy, we got cartoons and TV shows and dramas and action or whatever, and then CDs for music as well. Basically, my TV stand was not very big. I mean, I could double stack things and make it. I could put more on there, and when this gets filled up, but this is just a good way to kind of get some stuff off of there. Eventually, I'll start, compiling things or buying a bigger bookshelf when I find something solid worth having. But I have been constantly looking for music and movies, and I thought it could be fun to just kind of show off what I've gathered so far. So let's start off with CDs, because CDs are easier to, well, I have less CDs than DVDs. And let's talk about some of the stuff I've acquired in my physical media collection. Now, I have converted all of this to digital as well, so that I can have it on my MP3 player, but I do keep the, physical copies. I do want to mention, though, that I bought all of this secondhand. 90% of it. All my music's 100% secondhand, and it's all come from small businesses or small vendors at consignment shops, thrift stores, whatever. It's all come from there. The movies, I bought a couple things from big box stores because it was the only way to ensure you weren't getting a bootleg kind of thing. But yeah, most of this comes from secondhand. So it's good for the environment. You support small business. You keep the stuff out of landfills, and as long as it plays and transfers over to digital, it's a win-win, and I save quite a bit of money too. Plus, I have unique taste in music, in a sense, as in the kind of music I like just isn't popular in the area, probably never really was, so it's harder to find. But let's go through the music first. I'm going to start with this band right here. I'm not going to do this with every album, but this one I do want to point out because they're a kind of a punk band that was never really huge, but they made amazing music. And you don't even have to like punk to like this stuff, because it doesn't really sound punk. It just kind of sounds rock and roll, but when you break down and listen to the lyrics and stuff, it's definitely punk rock. Early punk too. So this band is called X, and I love the album artwork here on the back. This is an older album. I believe it dates back to the early. Yeah, this is 81. So, it definitely dates back to the early days of punk, when punk wasn't like defined kind of like it is in the 90s with bands like NoFX or Less Than Jake, stuff like that. Rancid, Operation Ivy, bands like that. But this is different, and I love it. And I think you could put this in around pretty much anyone who just likes music, and I guarantee there's a song on there they would like. And they do have new music out called, I believe their album's called Smoke and Fiction, and I think that's one of my favorite songs on that whole album as well. Highly recommend. Just, you're on YouTube, when you get done with this, type in X the band or X Smoke and Fiction, and give some of their new stuff a like. I think you'll probably like it. But to go through other songs in here, I don't want to stand too much on one band here. We got Banned Religion, Coal Chamber, Rage Against the Machines, because their music, man, sadly, is still very relevant today. Coheed and Cambria, NoFX, White Zombie, the Sex Pistols. My only hip-hop in here is Office Space. Now, I do enjoy hip-hop. I especially like early 2000s independent stuff. Atmosphere, Merge, Sage Francis, that kind of stuff. Just harder to find, especially in this area. And in general, it's harder to find because underground hip-hop never really took off. Easy to find on digital, a lot harder to find when you want a physical copy. But moving on, we also have one of the greatest 90s bands out there, the Wallflowers. If you're unaware, I remember the day I found out. It blew my mind. The lead singer, Jakob Dylan, is the son of Bob Dylan. And it explains everything about the lyrics you need to know, knowing that the, Bob Dylan, Jacob Dylan, the Wallflower lyrics are a little strange and out there sometimes, but they're good. And you're like, yeah, no, that's just a family thing. So we got another Bad Religion album there, but move on. The White Stripes, great band. Alien Ant Farm. This one, everyone knows them for Smooth Criminal cover, but the best song on the entire album, and one of their singles, is Movies. They also have another album after this one where I believe the big title track was called These Days. Great song too, but never got the same amount of traction that their cover of Smooth Criminal did. Modest Mouse, they don't really make bad music, do they? It's just good chill out music. Mumford and Sons, again, good chill out music. I'm not a hipster or anything like that, but I do enjoy their music. AFI, I've been listening to them since high school. I think All Hallows EP was the one I first heard. They were on tour with that album, and I fell in love with the band. Although their new stuff isn't as great, they still make really interesting and a constantly evolving music, which I really appreciate about the band. There's a Punk-O-Rama 7 compilation, the Talking Heads, and the Kinks. Kind of like bands like the Kinks, especially as they kind of get closer to the 70s, I really think helped shape the form of like 80s and 90s punk. I seen somebody made a documentary or something saying like the band like the Ventures and stuff are what's responsible for like 90s punk, like NoFX and such. And you can definitely hear the similarities in the guitars and such, and the way the songs are structured. And yeah, I kind of can agree with that. Okay, well, let's slide through the movies here real quick. I'm just going to kind of run down the list, as you can already see them, though. We got Office Space, Wedding Singer, Dazed and Confused, Addams Family Values, The Other Guys, Wayne's World 1, Wayne's World 2, Tommy Boy, Tropic Thunder, Hot Rod, Grandma's Boy, all three Back to the Futures, Beer Fest, Toy Story 3. I do need to get all the Toy Stories. Slapshot 1, 2, and 3, and Major Pain. And then over here, we have the complete series of Futurama. But it's not the complete series. This is 1 through 8 plus all the movies. To me, this is peak Futurama, and anything after it just never really lived up to it. But I love Futurama up until the Hulu era, and I just can't get into the Hulu era because I just feel like they're redoing old episodes. Like they're just trying to rewrite them, and it just doesn't work for me. But if you like it, that's cool. It's just not for me. Let's go down to the next shelf where we have South Park seasons 1 through 20. Now, I did buy these brand new. I got them for, I think it was like $110 for 20 seasons of South Park. There are, I believe, a few missing as well. A few episodes missing that got pulled from production because of whatever. So I do need to get like a couple old South Park DVDs to complete the 1 through 20 selection, to get those missing episodes. I gotta find the original prints, but shouldn't be too hard. Basketball, South Park the movie, Team America, World Police, and that kind of like all completes my South Park collection there. There is one movie I want to get from Matt and Trey called Orgasmo, and if you've seen it, you'll understand why. But it's so damn funny. It sounds like a porn, and it's about making porn, but it's not really. It's more of a comedy than anything, and it's not necessarily a porn. It's just a Mormon who ends up doing porn to raise money for his wedding. Hilarious. And yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. If you ever see it, watch it. So then we go from the South Park into one of the greatest cartoons ever made, King of the Hill. I have 1 through 6 on DVD, which is awesome. These are fully digitized. I've got the first 1 through 5 seasons done. I need to start working on more, getting those digitalized. But yeah, I do have 1 through 6 on my hard drive, and that makes me happy. I also have the Venture Brothers complete series. It comes with everything but the movie, and I did buy this new, and I do need to acquire the movie still, but eventually I'll have it and have the full Venture Brothers set. The movie's really good too. But if you haven't watched the Venture Brothers and you like King of the Hill or you like South Park, you'll love the Venture Brothers. Archer, season 2. harder to find these. I thought these would be a little easier, but having a hard time running into the Archer DVDs. But I love this all the way through. I think it was a great show. The Pacific and Band of Brothers. Found these on the same day, believe it or not, in 2 different stores. And yeah, love it. So then we go into the Kevin Smith collection. Clerks, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2. I know, I need to find Mallrats. It's driving me nuts that I don't have Mallrats. And then we go and lose our voice. Let me try to make some room. I've been sitting on a bucket here. So let me get down here so I can read what I got. So down here we have Mad Men seasons 1 through 6, I believe. Yep, there's 6 discs there, so it'll be 6 seasons. I'm missing the last one. Need to find it. Great show. Especially if you like time period pieces, this is based in the 60s, and it's really cool. Really good attention to detail in this series. American History X, American Graffiti. This is one of the movies that basically got me hooked on cars. The Green Mile, Apollo 13, Saving Private Ryan, Goodfellas, Public Enemies, The Wolf of Wall Street. Then we got this like 4-pack of Clint Eastwood movies. Trouble with the Curve, never actually watched it. Gran Torino, great flick. J. Edgar, interesting flick. I was surprised how they actually portrayed J. Edgar in that. And then Invictus, haven't watched it. But there's 2 out of 4 there that I really like. So we'll just slide you back in your place. Ford versus Ferrari, a great racing story. Seabiscuit, also a racing story, but not a bad movie. Someone got this for me as a gift years ago, and I never opened it. I've seen it enough, but it's just kind of been in the collection since. Twister and The Aviator. Aviator's a really good movie. A little long, but really good. Jurassic Park trilogy, the original three, probably the best. And there's also a bonus disc in there about I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it's like baking of the stuff and the island and so forth. And here's some other movies I've never watched that were given to me because my family doesn't really know my taste very well. Shh, don't tell them. True Detective, Lone Survivor, American Sniper, and Ford Dirty Harry Collection. Wow, that was hard to say. And then Kick-Ass. I'd honestly have thought about taking these up to half-price books or something and just dumping them off because I'll never watch them. And just taking the credit so I can buy something that I will watch. Oh, and then, you may notice this right here. Series 10 of Top Gear with the Botswana Special. This show, as a car enthusiast, is great. But if you just want to watch something kind of funny and goofy, find their specials and watch them because they are absolutely hilarious. They're not necessarily just about cars. I mean, that's kind of the focus, but they're just so funny. That was one of the biggest shows in the world at one point. And I'm not saying that just because I enjoy it, because statistically, it was one of the biggest shows in the world. All right, well, to keep this video from being a half hour long, I'll do another video on this program I'm using and the secondary program I use alongside it to help compress all my stuff. But I am converting stuff to DVD, and I already got Major Payne. That was one of my buys today, as was the Kinks album. That was my other purchase of the day. But Top Gear Season 10 was the highlight of my day, and so far week, because it's one of my favorite all-time shows. My dog is named after the guy in white here with the helmet, the Stig. I mean, that's who my dog's named after. So I am converting it to digital. I will make a video similar to this on how I do my digitalizing and all that in a future date, because this could be a half-hour video with me including all this. So that'll just give me more content to make on a later date. So I'm going to do this, and you're going to go do that, whatever that is that you're doing, and I will see you on the flip side, homie.